Hi everyone, we are from the Foster School of Business at the University of Washington. Here we have a trusted AI tool which will help small businesses manage their cash flow, which is an explainable AI tool to give financial advice to small businesses to manage their cash flows. The journey of a small business begins when they realize the need for better cash flow management. That is when they reach out to us for support. Our tool drives data-driven information using their financial statements and gives them a data-driven recommendation which helps them manage their cash flows better. A small business faces a lot of issues and our tool will solve both quantitative and qualitative issues faced by them. To name a few, better forecasting and enhanced experience with banking tools. Our tool will generate revenue, increase customer expansion, and also help retain customers. This will happen with a robust market rollout strategy and a unique revenue model. The tool ensures trust and security with a comprehensive user experience, which will add value not just to PNC, but to PNC customers as well. We have an experienced team of professionals to bring this forward and expand on this, and I will hand it over to our Chief Strategy Officer to begin with.
So our strategy is to first target high revenue generating small business customers in the first year, and each subsequent year increase the number of customers we are targeting. So by year 4, we'll be targeting the entire small business community. Our strategy is not to charge for the product, but instead make it free for all small business owners. But importantly, for non-PNC banking customers, we'll give them a limited feature set of the product. When they convert to becoming a PNC banking customer, they'll get the full-fledged product. This creates an incentive for non-PNC bank holders to become PNC bank customers, thereby creating multiple revenue streams, such as saving on cost of acquisition and incremental interest generated. This will also, in the long term, create a business advantage by increasing the market share. Finally, the roadmap is in the first year, we will develop the tool. In year 1, since we have launched it to a small user customer market, we assume that we'll get a small market share of it, so roughly 4,000 users. As we expand the number of customers we are targeting, by year 5, we assume we will have over 180,000 users. Now I'll hand it over to the CFO.
This project will not only bring in money, but also helps us establish a strong market leadership. In terms of money, this project will give a positive net present value of $2.5 million and also bring in an internal rate of return of 11% over a period of 5 years. It will increase a customer base from 4,000 customers to 181,000 customers. We'll earn revenue through multiple revenue streams. We'll earn interest on deposits from new customers. We'll save on customer acquisition cost. We'll earn an interest again on deposits preserved from customers retained, and we'll also save on customer retention cost. We'll also save bandwidth and valuable time of our human financial advisors. All this is based on highly conservative assumptions backed by a robust financial model. Now, enough about finance. Let us walk you through how our tool looks.
So let me switch to the demo we have created. As you can see, the first thing the customer sees is the data that the AI model has regarding them. Their balance sheets, their income statements, their cash flows. They can see all this data. They can also manage this data, whether they want to edit the data, upload new data, or sync it with their accounting software. They can also choose to include or exclude any data they feel as required. So if they don't want to share the balance sheet, they can exclude that. If they want to add more inputs, they can do that as well. Once they do that, they will get a few auto-generated prompts and an option to manually write in a prompt. Let me take you through a scenario where they ask a question. So when I click this, what will happen is the AI tool will remove any personally identifying information, anonymize the prompt, give it all the customer data, and send it to the best external LLM. It will generate a recommendation, then generate a confidence score behind the recommendation, explain what customer data was used, and an explanation behind the recommendation, how it decided this is the ideal recommendation. This includes sources. So it also will highlight what assumptions the AI made while making the recommendation. For example, what is the business revenue growth rate and the increase in cost? These assumptions can be modified by the user. The user will be in control. The user will also be able to see what external sources did the AI use to make the recommendation. These sources will be vetted by PNC financial advisors, and these will be from a trusted source database. But what happens if the AI is unable to generate a recommendation that it has confidence in? Let me take you through a different scenario. In this scenario, the AI does not have confidence in the recommendation. What it would do is, it would advise you to schedule a meeting with the human financial advisor. In the tool itself, you can then schedule a meeting with a human financial advisor, where you can select the financial advisor, learn more about them, pick a date, a time. And once you schedule a meeting, it will confirm the meeting, and most importantly, let you share your chat history, so that the human financial advisor has context behind why you're scheduling a meeting. Now let me go back to the presentation. So what is the impact of all of this? This creates trust. Most importantly, the customer has full visibility of what data is being used. They can edit and modify their data. They have full control over their data. They also understand the logic, the inherent logic behind the recommendation, therefore creating further trust. There's full transparency behind the logic of the recommendation. Finally, they can also see the assumptions the AI has made. This is very important, since these assumptions drive the recommendation. And again, the customer is in full control. The recommendation is fully explainable. Now let me hand it over to our CTO to explain the logic behind the recommendation.
So once the user puts in their prompt, our in-house LLM wrapper will consume the prompt. And this in-house LLM wrapper is simply an interface between the user and the external LLM. What it will do is, it will first strip the prompt of any personally identifiable information, and it will add elements such as how the response structure should look like, what are the trusted internal and external sources that can be used for references, and what is the compliance rulebook that has to be followed while generating the recommendation. Once this is all drafted in, the wrapper will send the revised prompt to the best external LLM, and the LLM will then draft the recommendation based on the elements provided in the prompt. Once the wrapper receives the response from the LLM, it will do a second level check just to verify if all the provided compliance and regulations are actually followed or not. And if all the checks are passed, it will add the visual elements and the confidence score to the response and send the response to for the customer to view. If in case there is any compliance or violation, or if there are any regulatory violations, it will re-request the same LLM to either tweak the recommendation or draft in a new recommendation that adheres to the guidelines. There will be a maximum of 3 allowed attempts between the wrapper and the external LLM to draft in the response as per the regulations. If it goes past that, it will advise the customer to please get in touch with a human financial advisor, and it will not withhold from showing any recommendation to the customer. So now you must be thinking, like, how will the wrapper decide which is the best external LLM? So our tool has a grading system or a grading matrix that helps in that aspect, and it has majorly 2 aspects to it. First is a list of 1,000+ benchmark scenarios that has been carefully crafted by the PNC's financial advisors and from their own expertise and their past interactions with the small business customers. And for each scenario, what will happen is, the financial advisors will test each scenario for 4 of the market leading LLMs. For example, it can be any of the market leading LLMs that we have shown here. And they will grade each of those LLMs for each scenario in a score of 1 to 5. Now, in the real time, what will happen in, once the customer prompts in, and the wrapper will try to visualize how the customer prompt matches with one of the benchmark scenarios, and will pick the LLM which is the highest graded from that averaged out grading table. Using that LLM, it will send the revised prompt to that particular external LLM, and once we receive the response from that LLM, we'll use the same score that our financial advisors gave as a confidence score that we have for that particular recommendation, and show it to the customer. So the second aspect of our grading table is the industry context, which is absolutely essential when it comes to giving tailored recommendations. So we'll have a grading table for each of the high-level small business industries that we have. So for example, we'll have one for retail, trade, one for real estate, etc. And this will help us to minimize the industry-specific bias that might creep in our solution. So now I'll walk you through the governance framework of our tool. So the first principle of our governance framework is privacy. So the license deals that we strike with the external LLMs will ensure that they don't train on the data that we provide to them. And we also are not going to share any of the customer's personal information outside of the bank. So this will ensure that we are maintaining the privacy aspect of it. And also, there will be a one-step solution provided to the customer, which will allow them to delete all the data that we have stored for them, pertaining to them while they were using the solution. The second aspect of our framework is the fairness and the bias testing, and that is where the grading matrix helps us because it reduces the reliance on a single external LLM, and it also helps us to reduce the industry-specific bias. And so there can also be a situation that our wrapper is not able to find a particular benchmark scenario for the customer's prompt, or it's possible that the benchmark scenario that has been found, the highest rated LLM has a score of less than equal to 2. So in that case, we are not going to show any recommendation because we don't want to show a low quality recommendation for the customers just because we have AI limitations. In that case, we'll just ask them to get in touch with a human financial advisor. And lastly, our tool is also going to maintain the audit compliance by maintaining all the overhead conversations happening between our wrapper and the external LLMs. And it will also maintain the deployment logs so that we can see how the model is behaving over the time as we are bringing in more enhancements. And finally, as part of a model lifecycle, we're going to tune and retrain our model and also recalibrate our confidence, our grading table as we go on bringing in more enhancements as per the customer feedback and the PNC's financial advisor's expertise. So now I'll hand it over to our Chief Marketing Officer to let you walk through the go-to-market strategy.
Awesome. Thanks, Ayush. So now just going back to a bit more strategy and less of tech part for the next 3 minutes. Our GTM strategy has been created just with the intention of anchoring customers to PNC in the form of a transparent and an AI-powered engagement system. A couple of the things given on the slide includes an acquisition plan. So we are planning on acquiring our customers, first of all, using our financial advisors who are going to be the main drivers of actually introducing this product into the market, along with in-prompts, nudges on the app and the internet banking platform, branch visits, as well as integrating with other strategic partners. In terms of our onboarding, that's always been a challenge for a lot of customers into switching into an AI tool. Our main focus is let's keep it simple, let's keep it quick, and let's keep it on a guided video onboarding plan, as well as giving them a robust expertise to actually help them onboard quickly into the platform so that they're ready to actually utilize a platform right from day number one. Scenario toggles and cash flow outlooks, we believe, are a really, really good USP for this product, which will actually help them have better control about their finances and also be risk proactive. Now, clearly just distinguishing the two sorts of versions that we've got. So this particular slide expands around what some of the features that a PNC customer would get and what a non-PNC customer would get. The PNC customers ideally would have an opportunity to have an unlimited number of prompts, go ahead and have automatic and one-click data syncing options, as well as, most importantly, integrating this particular solution into their existing workflow, which unfortunately is not available for a non-PNC customer. Both set of customer groups will have the opportunity to actually upload all of their documents manually, but the PNC customers have a further step benefit, which would ideally be in terms of scheduling unlimited number of financial advisory calls at any given point of time. Our non-PNC customers, unfortunately, are just restricted to just one particular appointment per month. But though we see a bit more of a restriction for a non-PNC customer, we believe that that is just enough to actually give them a glimpse of what the solution is and also further move them across to PNC for a long-term solution. Lastly, we're looking at what's next for this particular solution and how this can actually be plugged into other high-stakes scenarios. So we strongly believe that this particular framework can go ahead and be plugged into other customer scenarios, which include debt paydown, retirement planning, portfolio management, other services of PNC that they are going to be looking at expanding. Obviously, there are a lot of changes that need to be made. Some of those changes mainly includes the framework in particular, not exactly of the idea. Some of the changes that needs to be done is, first of all, the GTM strategy, because the target audience will be slightly different. The GTM strategy needs to be slowly amended to ensure that it is catering to the right set of people. In terms of the grading system and grading scale and the rubric, changes have to be made so that the customers that we are actually trying to address, their needs are addressed properly, and our AI solutions actually able to give them a more personalized solution, personalized recommendation. The in-house LLM wrapper needs to also be further trained to ensure that we are maintaining a better customer context in terms of solution providing. So with that, we'd like to conclude our presentation and happy to take on any questions that you guys might have.
Great presentation and quick walkthrough on how this works. Two questions. Number one, you started off saying this is a free. Why is it free? Why there is no fee for it?
So we believe. Sorry.
Let me finish my second question. The second part of the question is this seemed like more like a prompt-based advising. Is that the only plan, or is there a strategy behind where it could be proactive recommendation and advising as well?
Sure. So regarding the first question, we first debated maybe charging for the product, but we believe by making it free and making the incentive to make a conversion from non-PNC to PNC gives more value in the long term. It increases the market share of PNC and it provides an opportunity to generate far more revenue than a simple subscription would have costed. And the cost of the subscription might have been very minimal, whereas the customer lifetime value might be much higher. Regarding the second question, actually, we do have proactive things in our engagement part where we'll send weekly liquidity summaries, monthly action prompts, financial data tracking alerts. So we will proactively engage with the customer as well.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. A lot of great ideas in here. You touched on this a little bit in terms of the bringing more context to particular subsegments and target audiences. The inputs I saw were primarily financially based. Can you talk a little bit about how the experience starts to bring in more around like business goals or more of like the strategic inputs from a particular organization, and how does that play out?
So the benchmark scenarios we are creating would be in conversation with PNC financial advisors. They have vast experience dealing with clients and giving financial advice to them. So I'm sure they have dealt advice regarding business strategies, expansion goals, and things of that nature. Therefore, these will be already integrated in our benchmark scenarios, and our tool will be able to answer that.
I have a question about the data input. Right now, you are designing a tool to support manual data input. From a business owner's perspective, that's extra work, right? You expect the business owner to upload their own P&L, their balance sheet and everything. To generate that, they have to go through either themselves, manually on QuickBooks or hire a third-party accounting firm to do that. Once they have that, they already have the accountant to give them advice already, right? What would incentivize them to use PNC's tool with that extra manual effort, right? What do they get out of it?
I'm happy to take that question. So ideally, based off our research, we've understood that there are basically two sets of customers, right? One is your customer who actually just maintains all of their financials on a notebook because they're a small scale business. So for people like that, the idea is to introduce this particular product into the market and integrate that into one of their accounting system if they don't have any. Or if they don't have anything, they obviously have their banking system, which we are trying to get them onto PNC. And the tool will ideally be extracting all the data based off their transaction history. The manual data upload part is mainly if they actually have banking elsewhere. Like not all of us have just one bank account with one bank. We might have multiple accounts. In case if you want to sync the data from other bank accounts onto the actual app and onto the platform, that's where the manual would be manual interventions needed. To the second point, in terms of the actual QuickBooks or Xero, that's sort of like a platform, this tool actually fits into it. So the tool already will be reading through all the accounting, invoicing that's coming up, or any sort of like tax return that the accountant would have ideally created. And that all is stored in their in-house workflow tool. So from a manual integration, what we are imagining this to be is just around any other normal non-PNC bank accounts. Those cannot be linked because of regulatory requirements. Those are the accounts that they need to actually manually upload. Or if there are situations where I want to keep my personal finances away from my business, and but I do need to, for tax reasons, I need to upload my financial statement, individual tax return, things like that. That is where I go in and I manually upload the documents.
I think it's a really good point. As soon as PNC has the data, we're then responsible to protect the data. And so, what does that mean from like a credential standpoint, and how do we ensure that like we know that data is specific to that client and we are protecting it? So I think there are some things here that I think would have to be worked through. I love the concept though of trying to give it to non-PNC people. I also think you guys did a really good job thinking through like the LLM process and how it's integrated. So good job, I just wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.